tried to play me on the low, but it's okay. It's all right.
She's great. She's great.
Yes, my name is Chanel Wiles. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and a family, we originated out of Maryland. You're videotaping too, okay? It's also the one pose for it?
Pose.
Okay.
Oh, she's so funny.
Okay, so I'm not going to try to be too long-winded. I like to get everybody involved in what I'm doing as well. But yes, my name is Chanel Wiles. I'm trying to see where I should start. I moved to Charlotte back in '89 as a young girl. Moved with my mother and my two siblings at the time. My mother moved us from Maryland, where a lot of things were going on. We went through a lot of adversity. My mother lost her mother, so we went through homelessness. I endured a lot of low self-esteem growing up. I lived in a public housing neighborhood, which is now torn down. I don't know if any of you will remember it, but it was called Boulevard Homes. It was on West Boulevard. I stayed out there from the age of 11 up until I was right before I went to college, about 17 years old. So during those years of staying there, I went through a lot. My mother had 3 more children after we moved to Charlotte. So I had to help step up, help become like I wouldn't want to say a parent figure because I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it, the fact that I was helping my younger siblings because we were in a single parent home, 6 children, 1 parent, so you know how that can get. But it's 2 very important reasons why I'm here today that I'm sure probably none of you would guess. But 2 reasons is, yes, I am a mentor, just like many of you sitting here today. Actually, everyone in here is a mentor because if you're helping someone, you're a mentor. So I became a mentor when I was in college. Freshman year, I went to A&T, Aggie Pride, in Greensboro. And my freshman year, I was hired at a YMCA right next to the dorm I lived in. So started to work there, and I got involved with, I was the leader of a dance class. I did dance and step, did a lot of things with the youth. So I stepped up and I saw 2 young ladies. They were about 11 going on 12 at the time. And so they saw something in me, and I saw something in them. So they had parents in the home, and I guess they just looked at me as a big sister. Because they had younger siblings. Both of them had younger brothers. No older siblings or older sisters in that fact. So I stepped up and, talked to their parents and became a mentor to them. But one thing I started seeing, like when I went to pick them up and, take them to the library, went to check on them in school, their younger brothers were looking for that same attention, even though they had fathers in the home, especially one of their parents. They had fathers in the home, and he did things with them. He's a great father. But I guess what they were looking at me, I guess I was youthful, very active. Not saying their parents weren't, but they were looking for something different in me, and I couldn't figure it out. So as time went on, I started to let them spend time with me as well. And so from there, it's like all the other guys in the community and at the YMCA wanted me to spend time with them. And my nickname back then was Coco, so they called me Miss Coco. I was known as Miss Coco throughout the YMCA, all throughout Greensboro. So started spending time with them, and while doing so, I kind of had to sit back and say, it doesn't take just a male to become a positive figure to these young guys. They need that woman, too. They need that nurturing. And many people can tell you, I'm not just this soft little, and I'm, not cuddly and stuff like that. Like, I can get strict because that's how I was brought up. I was brought up in a very strict home, and it's like, do what I say, and that's it. So kind of put that in there. So spent a lot of time with these young men, went and spent time with them. I had some guys get suspended from school, and I had to go to the school and talk to the teachers, and I went with the parents. So it's that puts it in a, I guess a more positive perspective that, not only you men can do it, but us women can do it as well. And just so forth as you guys, you can do it for the girls too. So don't ever think that, you're not being watched. Make sure you set the right example. We're all going to, joke and, get off our little, seriousness sometimes, but you have to make sure that you're being watched at all times by these young people, because that's important. I had people I was watching growing up, like, no matter what you say, do what I say. If you're doing something opposite, these young people are going to do what you do. That's just the reality of it. So that's one reason why I share a common interest with many of you, because you're mentors to young men, and I'm a mentor to young men. I still keep in touch with, I actually used to work in a group home in Greensboro. And one of them was just a regular group home with kids who were being neglected from their families and needed a placement. And another one that I worked at within the same program was a substance abuse group home. So within that one, I've seen some things I've never witnessed before. I had one client who committed suicide, actually two. And so one of them, I keep in touch with his mom. She lives in the Raleigh area. She lives in Wake Forest, actually. And she does events. It's called Skate for Life. I don't know if any of you heard of it, but she does it every year. And he's been gone for maybe about 5 years now. So it's just things like that that just really gives me that push and that punch that lets me know this is why I do it. You know, it's not for recognition. It's not for any of that. It's to do it because you want to help other people and not make the same mistakes you made or not want to go through what you went through. So it's issues like that. Now, one more important reason, and I was sitting beside this wonderful lady, and she was asking some questions. I said, hold on, you got to wait. You got to listen to what I'm going to say. I do have a son. I did not birth him, but he is my son. I met him when he was about 10 years old at a group home I worked at. And he was there for some issues in his family. He had been in DSS custody since he was 2. So he moved around. He's from Durham, North Carolina. He moved around a little bit, different homes, and had behavior issues in school. The group home he was pretty fine, unless you set him off or unless, he was just in a bad mood. So I met him when I first started working there. Something that kind of startled me, like I think it was my 2nd week working there. Like he went off and busted about 8 windows around the group home. And it was something involving him getting into an altercation with another guy, and a staff member put his hands on him, and it wasn't the right approach. So time went on, he successfully left the group home and went to a family in Reedsville, and things didn't work out. He kept in touch with us, called back every now and then to the group home and let us know how he was doing. So he stopped calling for a little bit, and his social worker still had another client there with us. And so I was wondering, well, how is he, and blah, blah, blah. So my weekend supervisor and myself, we talked to her, and she let us know that he was in the hospital. He had got sick one day and had an infection that spread to his hip. He couldn't walk for about a week. Mm-hmm. So he was at Baptist Hospital in Wake Forest. So her and I went and took a visit and just went up there and seen him. And, he was jokey, lollygag himself. And, one thing led to another. And she already had children. She had a set of twins that were about 7 at the time. So, I was a single parent. I was, still taking classes on and off and had an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, staying by myself. And I used to hear, you can't foster or adopt a child if you're a single parent or if you're not married, things like that. But as the saying says, you can't always believe what you hear. A book, especially can't by the cover of a book, you know what I mean? So one thing led to another, and I showed interest that, I would like to give this young man a home, a family, a different life, something better. So one thing led to another, and he came into my home April 2005. And I adopted him January 2006. He is now 23 years old. He's doing pretty well for himself. He was one of the first, I think, to graduate high school. So that's a success story in itself. And just like all of you sitting in front of me, y'all can make some positive changes. And I'm sure you already are, but continue it. Be consistent. Don't fall back. Don't be afraid to be firm and let these kids know, like, no, you're not doing this. Like, say no to them. Don't be so easy going on them, you know what I mean? But let them know that you love and you care for them, because that's what they need in this society. It's a lot going on, and you just have to be the strong force in their lives, because sometimes they don't have it. Just like I'm an educator as well. Work at a school, I teach at a school in Cary, North Carolina, instructional assistant, and have to get really firm. And we have a mentoring program within our school, and I was asked at the beginning of the school year to be a mentor for a young male who has been there since he was in the kindergarten. And this young man, I had some interactions with him last year when I first worked there. Very tough, strong-willed and just stubborn, but very intelligent. He has both parents in the home, so, sometimes it doesn't matter if it's a single parent, both parents in the home. He's just, he just very tough and just wanted things his way. So, I had to work with him a lot and without revealing too much, because of confidentiality. But put some things in place, and he was one of the top success stories in our school. He was recognized, and he just just made all of us proud. Like, he didn't have any more behavioral issues for the last probably 3 months of school, just minor things. But again, it's stories and situations like that that really make me proud of what I do. What else have I done? I stepped up. I used to keep a diary when I was a child. And so I used to say, well, I'm going to turn this diary into, some books when I get older. Never really thought that I'd put it into action, but as of December 2011, I wrote my first book. And I self-published my book as well. I brought a copy. It's titled, I'm Not a Celebrity, But I Have a Story. And so I feel as though I wanted to self-publish my book because nobody needs credit for what I put into place. I wrote it, I edited it, everything. Did it myself. And so I wanted to keep going. I did my second book and completed that in 2012. 2016 is 4 years later. I said I was going to do another one. I am, but it's taking a little long. Have a lot going on. So I'm going to pause right quick and ask and see if anybody has any questions before I do I want to do a hands-on activity. Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody?
What's the name of your second book?
Uneven Pathways. It's a fictional novel I created about you. Any more for the moment? Okay. So what I'm going to need right now is I'm going to need everybody, except for you, to come right here in the middle and make a circle. Please. There's going to be a story behind it. Just make sure you try to pay attention.